Just walking the rows. They tell you to walk the vineyards when you come to wine country. I'm taking about a half-mile walk. All smiles. Handful of wine. It's all good. Beautiful out here. About 50 degrees. On the Dundee Hills. I'll flip the camera around. Well, I can't, but if you can see the red color in the soil there, it's volcanic clay. So this is the Dundee Hills. Volcanic clay is the type of soil that these vines grow in. Makes for a beautiful Pinot Noir. Tanned in my jacket, so I'm gonna put this down. It's a beautiful place. Beautiful. The soils in this area varies
drastically.
Drastically.
Here's a great view right here. The soil over here, you have probably 17 different soil types just right here.
Right.
And you can see visually how the soil changes. You see that little grass that's growing that's brown top now? See over there, it stops and turns green for a while, and it turns brown again, the soil changes. As it goes up the hill over there, see those things going up there going this way? That means there's water in the soil. It's a bunch of springs. You go up the hill further, see it's green again? So it's a different soil type. Same thing over here, different soil type. And when you walk around, you can tell the soil type changes by what plants are growing.
Right.
So
even on the vineyard, kind of same thing, right?
Same thing's going to happen, right?
But your goal is to...
You learn, but it's good. I'm not going to know in my lifetime.
Right.
It's going to take a long time for someone to figure that stuff out.
I see what you're saying.
Well, I got a map over here. I'll show you. Wind Hill 2017. This is the Pomard block. So I have Pomard block and 115. So 115 is more or less the same thing as Pomard, just a different cutting, basically.
Okay.
And these vines, the Pomard here was planted in 1974, and the 115 the same vintage as far as planting, but it was actually Chardonnay. It was grafted and open. So they grafted the Chardonnay up to the 115 clone in 1988, so a long time ago. See those guys? And we mostly do the first couple days punch overs, pump overs, and punch downs, both 4 times a day or so.
Okay, so you just kind of lighten it up a little.
Well, we kind of make it homogeneous.
Right.
And then after that, you kind of you have an idea of what you have because I've sent out the juice to get an assay done, and you see what nutritional value you have, and then you either decide to do more or less.
Gotcha.
Mechanical aspect to it. So you just start fermenting on day 5 or 6.
Okay.
17 vintage, finished in about 3 weeks. We don't use any heat or any chilling, although we can with those jackets, but there's no need to.
Okay. And I'm sorry, the name of the vineyard again?
Wind Hill.
Wind Hill, and geographically, where is that?
It's about 30 miles north of us, probably the furthest north vineyard in the state.
Okay. You've been listing that for how long now?
Since 99.
Oh, wow. That's 20 years.
Yeah, long time.
Wow. Did you have a specific affinity to that area? Was it the soil or was it the cool climate?
Good friend, Adam Campbell. He and his family own it. The family owns Elk Cove. Cove Winery. So yeah.
I'll go there in the morning.
Yeah. So we go back a long ways. 96, I think we met when he came back from touring the world. And that's the oldest vineyard they have, older than their own estate. And his parents bought it years ago. So I just said, I'll take these 2 blocks here, and it's worked out great. I haven't changed blocks at all. But it's more of an elegant Pinot, so we're starting with that one. It's more acid-driven, flavor-wise, a little more on the floral side than fruity side. And you'll notice that it doesn't throw much color. It's kind of light.
Oh, that was great. Wow, yeah, super elegant.
So this is what most of my customer base buys if they're into Burgundy.
Right.
And then we'll go down the next vineyard, we'll make a radical change, and you'll say, oh my God, it'll be totally dark and totally fruit forward. And that's what most people on my mailing list buy if they're in the New World Pinot,
Right,
because it's totally different. And it's just the site and the clones. So
Do you style your winemaking toward that specific vineyard, obviously?
no,
or
they're
do
all
you-
made the same way.
They're all made the same way.
Yeah.
So it's just whatever. And your method, is it, is it terroir driven? Is it your own personal take, or?
I work with the same vineyards for a long time, and you kind of know what they need or want. And so mostly you live through the vintage, you live through what happened weather-wise, but also you look at the data that I have, a third-party analysis done on the juice. So when the juice comes back, you have, I think there's about 28 different things that they tell you what's in the juice. And
This is 30 days from extraction?
No, this is like the third day.
Third day.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's still juice.
Oh,
It
gotcha.
hasn't started fermenting yet, so you know what you have.
Oh, I see.
So you know what you have, you can either keep an eye on it because it may take off fermenting right away, or it may need a lot of help. It may need more oxygen. It may need heat. There's all sorts of things you have to look at. But you know that quantitatively because, you've seen what it's done in the past. And you compare it with your previous vintages and know what's going on.
You've been here for a year?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And before then, you were making
I
wine.
leased.
You leased.
I leased space.
Oh, you
So I
split it with someone. Is
Yeah,
that
I
what
was
you
at
said?
a winery that had 6 other winemakers.
Oh, wow.
Before, and then I had my own space by myself back in 2008 and 7, and then before that I was at Bergstrom.
Gotcha.
So Josh and I started with the new
very
building.
cool.
So Josh started at Lemelson, and then went to Flynn. Flynn is no longer, and then he's built the winery over in Newburgh, and I was in there as a tenant with about 4 other people, but it was just Josh and I working the first year, 03, 02 maybe, 03, it was 03, and then after that more people came on board, and of course Bergstrom grew. It went from 1,000 cases to 5,000 cases.
Oh,
No, it's about the right size.
how is it?
I look at what I'm doing, and I can make by myself 3,000 cases. But once you go above that, you got to hire somebody. Once you hire somebody, you got to make more wine to pay for it. You can spend, the sky's the limit, on a winery. And we kind of looked around and worked with enough wineries, not only for myself, but other people over 20 plus years, 25 years, and you kind of go, I know what I need and what I don't need, and I don't need a moat and a turret and a helipad, Then we're gonna go make a radical change here.
That was great.
Good.
Yeah.
It's hard to see, it's dark.
Let me turn the light on.
Oh, good.
It's supposed to be dark though, right?
Well, light can't get to those barrels very easily, so that doesn't really make much difference. Okay. Ready? Yeah. We'll go back outside. You can see the difference, and then taste the difference later.
There's a big guy here.
Yeah.
It's a big baby right there.
600 liter. That's a big boy. For Chardonnay.
Okay. Keep that crispness.
Well, it just seems to make better texture.
Yeah.
So see much darker on the way.
Yeah, much darker.
Warm it up some. Totally different animal.
The texture, the texture's really not lacking at all. Is that I want to say it's thinner in the texture, but it feels good on the mouth.
It's a much bigger wine. It's got more tannin. It's got more fruit. Same, it's neutral oak, so it's not as though it's the oak influence.
Okay.
But it's also the same clone. It's all Pomard.
Okay.
This is all east-facing, young vines. So these were planted in 2005, I think, versus 74. So big difference there.
And where's this site?
This is over in Yam Hill.
Okay.
So it's called Saffron Fields. So Tony makes their wine.
Mm. Yeah, it's still there's a lot of fruit, but there's still some flowers there, some floral influence, and
Good little violets going on.
yeah, seriously,
So
yeah.
it worked out pretty well.
It's very complex.
I think it's time to bottle. Let's get busy. Bottle half the place in May and the other half in August.
Oh, okay.
Half of the 17s.
Right, right.
I'll do some 18 rosé. That's it.
Oh, really? From the same clone, the Pomar?
No, that's gonna be something totally different.
Oh, okay.
So we'll stick with Pomard. That'll be all the same clones. This is a third vineyard. So this is called Yates Conwill, which is my closest vineyard, which is 2 hills to the west.
Gotcha.
So they are great site.
Closer to the mountain?
Yeah, about another mile to the west.
Okay.
And they're adjacent to the vineyard that Jadot bought a couple of years ago, called Resonance Vineyard.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that label.
Yeah. And
Oh, that's great.
he, Jacques Lardier, kind of, instead of getting a gold watch for retirement, he got a vineyard in Oregon. It's not a bad retirement gift. But he's a super guy. One of the few French who is complimentary and doesn't take himself too seriously.
Mm.
He kind of fascinating guy.
Oh, that was great.
So this is going backwards a little bit as far as color goes.
Yeah.
A little bit lighter, but not as light as the Wind Hill.
Oh, man.
See how it looks like a little brown there? There's no SO2 in this wine. So there hasn't
Okay.
been any SO2 added, and it's a year and a half down barrel.
Oh, wow.
So if you put in SO2, it'll brighten it up a little bit.
Gotcha. Mm. Yeah, a lot of texture, but yeah, restrained fruit, but
Very good. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's very subtle in the flavor.
yeah,
So this is the wine that just got the huge score from the critics. And they like it because it's more like Burgundy. The flavor is in the background. It's about texture and nuance. And to me, it tastes like rusty water and rutabagas. Maybe a little bit of rhubarb.
yeah, yeah. It's got some of them inky. I mean,
Versus the fir-
flower,
yeah, the fir-
vegetables.
Yeah, because the first ones were more of a typical stone fruit, plum, cherries, that sort of thing. And this is not.
The first wine.
First 2 wines we had.
All right.
So this one is on its own roots. The other 2 you had were well, they were kind of grafted, but so this is a different way of farming, basically. You just take the cuttings and put them in the ground. So there's no grafted rootstock. So it's super high risk farming wise, but it works.
And
Yes, it's super clear.
yeah, it is.
This map just came out. So here's the town of Carlton, right here. See all this right here? This is the hill you're on right now.
Okay.
Why is there so much data on this one hill and not anywhere else?
Right.
Well, because when they were out doing surveys, I happened to be here, and I had just dug over 100 different pits, and they were all still open. So the guy, the head of the USGS, this guy here, he was out and jumped in all the holes and took samples. And it also shows all the fractures that happen here. So either landslides or earthquakes. They've mapped all this stuff for me. This is all the different soil types just here. If you took the old soil map, which is 1974, it would say the hill is 2 different soil types. That's it. Where we have over 80 soil types on one 40-acre piece of property.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's insane because this is new.
That's how it happens.
Yeah, this is new, but it's old rock. So underneath there is hundreds of millions of years old. But the soil on top is all brought down from the floods. So this little map here is the cross section. And so you're right here.
Okay.
So that little hill right there, that's me right there.
Okay. And the wine we just tasted is further this way, or?
Yeah, it's over here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's off this map, actually. It's over here
Yeah.
somewhere.
Okay. Very cool.
So we're jumping now to a 2016. 2018. But it should be something totally different. So this is Tony Reiner's vineyard, which is California clones.
Yeah.
So Swan and Mount Eden,
Yeah, I saw that.
and he's got Calera,
Calera, yeah, I saw
and then
that too.
another 943.
Maverick.
Yeah. So great name, Maverick Vineyard, and he's in the flats, so he's at a very hot area, and he kind of figured, I've got a very hot site, why don't I go ahead and plant hot clones? It totally makes sense. And if you believe global warming is happening, he's ahead of the curve. So it's pretty smart. And so this is made the exact same way. Nothing
Nothing changed.
Nothing
Just
changed
the
here.
terroir.
in the plant material.
The plant material.
So
The
this,
clone, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Before we were in Pomard,
everything is Pomard did
and
before.
now we're
This
Mount
is a
Eden Swan.
50-50 co-fermentation Mount Eden Swan. And you can, number one,
The color.
color is like, it's like black. Yeah.
This is 2018.
Correct. So this will probably be, it might still be fizzing a little bit, but who knows?
Did he just plant that? 15 or 16?
It was planted
Oh wow.
2012, I think.
Okay. You poured me exactly 100 cc's.
I did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I drank this about a month ago. It wasn't done.
Hmm.
So you can tell it's finished, but holding it in your mouth, if it starts fizzing again, it's not done. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. It's slight. It wants to go austere, kind of, but it stops and becomes fruity.
Yeah.
You know.
It's really strange, in a positive way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's doing this, like
Yeah.
you said, going back and forth.
It wants to go austere.
Man, at the
stops.
end,
Fruit.
It makes you salivate. The acid is so high, you start salivating again.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's going to be the good stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
The first time I did the co-fermentation, so I've used this fruit 2 years before. I kept everything separate. I thought, you know what, this thing separate is too monolithic. And I love the Saffron Fields Pomard for its structure.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, this stuff is color and acid.
Mm-hmm.
Put them together. So I'm probably gonna do it again. This is also a whole cluster.
The 943. Where do you plant that? Same place,
That's
Saffron?
from Maverick Vineyard.
From Maverick,
Yeah.
right?
So I just get
943.
about 3 tons.
Was the last one 943?
143 and Pomard combined.
No, the previous one. The one.
It was Swan and
That's right.
Mount Eden.
Mount Eden. That's right. Okay. 10-4. 10-4. That wine did something for me though. This last one.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it really.
Well, it's a big boy. Yeah, the other ones are much more subtle. And this was something really.
But it took you. But it still was restrained. It felt.
Yeah,
Like.
I mean, my wines in the scheme of things in Oregon are not big, but out of the cellar, that's big.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's a relative statement because the first one was super light.
But
and-
those even
yeah.
were like you said, elegant and enjoyable.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been excited the whole time. It's just
Good.
the
Well, there's great complexity in the wines, but they're not as though they're a full orchestra. They're more like chamber music. It's all there, but it's a different experience. We're going to do Chardonnay now.
Oh, great.
So my Chardonnay is made in a very odd way.
Okay.
Thanks to Harry, actually. He was the one who taught me.
Really?
Well, I was making Chardonnay and it was okay, but nothing to brag about. And then he said, here. So we went out to lunch.
Out here or in
No,
San Jose?
San Jose.
Okay.
And sushi place. And then he has all these white burgundies with him. And we started drinking these white burgundies. And I go, oh my God, what is this? And he goes, it's just the best Chardonnay there is. I said, what the fuck? It was Coach Jury. You ever had that wine?
No, I have not.
It's like $30,000 a bottle. It's very expensive.
No way.
Yeah. And so I said, this is amazing. He goes, here's how they made it. And he had a brochure from Decanter magazine
Okay.
that said how they make this wine. It's a different technique. So what they do is the same thing, but I'm copying them now.
Okay.
So the grapes come in, no SO2, no enzymes, no nothing. Squeeze the grapes so it's pure juice. So the juice comes out clear. I put it in those big fermenters outside there.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it's just juice in there. It's about maybe 3 foot deep. And I let it sit with a screen, so that big black round thing
Yeah.
up there. The screen goes on top, keeps the bugs out.
Right.
And over the next 3 to 10 days, it turns from clear to yellow to brown to black.
Whoa.
So you pre-oxidize the juice.
Uh-huh.
And then when it's totally black, then you put it in barrel.
Huh.
So it's counterintuitive, but it makes a wine which I think is pretty amazing. In the past, since 2013 vintage, #1 Chardonnay in Oregon, EIEIF. Doesn't taste like Chardonnay. It tastes like perfection. That's fucking good. I'll drink that.
Holy crap, man. Whoa.
That's good. So the critics just had this review, all Oregon wines, and there's about 40 of us reviewed. And it was hilarious because I got the highest scores of anybody by a huge amount. The only person who got even close was Lingua Franca. I went down there. And so they go, holy shit, man, how'd you do that? Because their winemaker used to be at Romani Conti. Knows what he's doing. And we're good friends. Tomas Saver. And I go, man, come work with me. I'll teach you how to make wine. And he's just laughing.
Bring Harry over.
The thing is, the guy liked me. He liked my wine. So that's all it boils down to. Next year I may get an F. Who knows?
Who knows? But that was amazing.
Thanks.
Wow.
Thanks, yeah.
That was 17?
That is 17, correct.
Okay.
So anything with a pink on it, that's 17.
Okay. And that's a big old barrel, too.
Well, that's 400 liter. The other one there
400
was
liter.
600. So
600
it's
liter.
even bigger.
Okay. And then these other ones are 228 or 2?
Yeah, 228.
Okay.
Very good. Burgundy is 228. Bordeaux. We'll do one more Chardonnay. This is Yates Conwell. So the one you had before was Saffron Fields.
Right.
So this is totally different to me, Chardonnay, but made the exact same way. What's interesting though, it's not the same clones though. The Saffron Fields has a very interesting 843 clone.
And where's that out of?
It's I don't know where it's from. UC Davis, I guess, but it's known to have more like juicy fruit flavors.
Right.
Where this is 76 and 95, which is more like traditional up here. It's the same thing Tony has.
Oh, okay. Same clone.
So I leased some of Tony's Chardonnay, Yates Conwell. I used to lease the entire Chardonnay blocks they had, and I gave half of it away to Big Table Farm. You know those guys?
No, I haven't heard of it.
They're really good. And then I'm happy to get the Pinot Noir from Tony's Vineyard because it's very interesting. I would too.
The this Chardonnay,
Yeah.
I can't describe the flavor profile. It comes off as like kind of like bursting bursting flavors of I can't describe it. It feels like acid, but you know it's not exactly fruit.
Yeah.
It tastes like I can't describe it.
Come on, work on that.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's not. Maybe it could be lemon, zest, or like a citrus, a really harsh citrus, maybe.
Like
I don't know.
lime rind, a little more bitter.
Yeah.
Mostly because 100% New French oak.
Okay.
So I'll blend that with neutral oak. And the one you had before was different vineyard, different clones, but
Right.
also a neutral oak. So that's the big barrel we just had. It's adding a lot of oak influence because it is new. And that wine's been in there since September of 2017. So quite a while.
I see.
Yeah, 18 months. 16 months.
So that oak is just seasoning it and
Oak is weird. If you put the oak influence is really big for the first 6 months, maybe 9 months, depending on the variety. But then after a while, it mellows out, and you can't really tell. So if I let it sit in there for 20 months, you can't tell it's new oak.
I
It's
see.
very strange. So oak would add mostly tannin more so than flavor, and that's what people get confused about. Is
Well, yeah, because the white wine isn't supposed to be tannin necessarily.
not necessarily right.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. So what's interesting is people confuse secondary fermentation, malolactic fermentation, with oak, and you can have the exact same flavor and the same steel, and it's for this. It just
The
happens.
malolactic.
Malolactic, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
And
really
this is both, right? This is mallow and it's
Yeah, because I don't introduce mallow. Just whatever happens.
whatever happens happens.
Yeah.
but it's gonna happen
Yeah, it's
as
gonna
long
happen.
as it sits.
Irrelevant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna grab one more out of a stainless steel just to show you the difference.
From the same clone, same vineyard.
Hopefully.
Okay. Thank you. Oh,
This is Yates Conway. So. Oh shit! That sounds empty. It is. I had to check on that tomorrow. Well, changing our plan.
that's okay. Don't worry
We'll
about
go
it.
up here.
Oh, here we go.
Yates Conwell 2018 stainless steel. This might still be sweet. I don't know. It's pretty clear.
2008 should
2018, sorry.
2018 should be ready to drink, no?
That's still sweet.
Oh, is it?
It's fine now.
Oh yeah, very sweet.
Good, good. You can tell. This was a very typical Oregon wine country weather. Look over there. It's all nice and sunny.
Yeah.
You know, it's got rain happening. Just happened, obviously. But there is more research on the Pinot Noir plant than any plant in the world. More than any tree, more than any fern, more than any mushroom or sponge. No, those aren't really plants, but it's like people study those things. It's like, why is there more research on Pinot Noir? Because number one, it mutates. People understand why. And then number two, it translates what happened during the growing season better than any other fruit or vegetable does. Like cherries, apples, rutabagas, potatoes, whatever you're growing. And so you can taste Pinot Noir and go, okay, this was a really hot vintage. This is a very cold vintage. This had a vintage that had a freeze or a frost early on. It's amazing how it translates based upon if you taste enough wine, what happened.
Hmm.
That's why I think it's fascinating where you go to tasting, the people that really have a good palate, they can just nail it. They can go, okay, this is Oregon Pinot Noir from the Dundee Hills on a east-facing slope. Holy shit. Just nail it. I can't do that yet. I'm still trying.
It's amazing.
So, years ago, last time it was Year of the Pig, so a long time ago. Good customer, Chinese woman, San Francisco. Esther Lamb. And she'd been in the shop before here and bought wine from me. She goes, hey, Jay, it's You're the Pig. You make the pig wine again? I said, yeah. She goes, okay. I want a lot of it. Give away to my friends. She's very wealthy. And I said, okay. How much do you want? I want like 50 cases. I go, 50 cases? Are you serious? And she goes, yeah. And I went, well, okay. Let me try to save you some money. What? I said, do you have any friends that have a loading dock or a forklift?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I said, 50 cases is a pallet, okay?
Yeah.
55 is a case, 56 is a pallet, whatever. It's close enough. I said, if you make me unpack and repack all this shit and ship it via UPS or FedEx, it's going to cost you a fortune.
Yeah.
$50 more a case. I said, but if we ship it by the pallet, it'll cost you like $6 a case to get it there. $300 versus $3,000,
Right.
okay? And she goes, well, let's do it. I said, give me your friend's address. I'll make it happen. So I made it happen for her.
That's awesome,
And so
Jay.
she was super happy. And so I said, look, I'm coming down there in like 3 months, blah, 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 delivery to Harry. And then she goes, let's go to dinner at Bouchon Bistro.
Hell yeah.
It just opened up, okay?
Hell yeah.
And I said, okay, great. So something comes up. She can't make it. Lets me know. And I said, well, okay, sorry. She goes, no, reservations are still there. Just take a friend. Okay, fine. So I took Harry. So Harry came all the way up, you know? So we go there and we sit down. As soon as we sit down, one of those pedestals comes up with the ice in it in a magnum of Le Grand Dame champagne. And I go, what's this? And they go, a fan of yours is giving you this. And I go, oh, kick ass. It must be her, right? Because it's supposed to be our dinner. And so Harry's like, who the fuck is this woman? I said, oh, she's a good customer. You should get her. She's amazing. So we drink, and all of a sudden food starts coming. We didn't even order.
Wow.
So she paid for everything.
No way.
Burgundy, Chablis, and then champagne again at the end, and Sauterne. Pay for the whole fucking meal.
No way.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
kidding me.
And I went, thank you so much. She goes, well, you saved me $3,000. The meal only cost me $1,000, so I'm still ahead. And I go, what a great attitude.
She's
you know?
the best.
Yeah, she's the best. Yeah.
She's the best. How do you meet people like that?
Just
Dumb
be,
luck,
you,
huh?
no, you just be nice to people, because you never know. You know, it's something I'm trying to. Well, I've had employees before. I said, man, you know, you've got a little edge to you, and you need to calm that down, because you don't know what this person's been through, or why they're mad, or why they're happy, or why they're just boring as shit. Doesn't really matter. Just be nice to people, because how hard is that? It's not that hard.
It's not.
And the thing
For
is,
5 minutes.
yeah, and you sit there and go, don't try to prove that you know more than they do about wine. That's your fucking job to know more than they do. Okay, but don't sit there and let them know that. Just, if they ask a question, have an answer.
Right.
But don't go, oh, no, you're wrong. No, nobody wants to be told that.
No, they don't.
Yeah, come on.
You're supposed to give them an experience.
Yeah.
And
So, try that one first.
this looks like the same color as we were doing at the onset. Nose is a lot similar too. Oh yeah. That's wonderful. Got some austerity, some complexity, some acid, restrained, unripe fruit.
I agree.
That one's similar to the previous, but more floral instead of restrained fruit.
You have a good palate. Here's the deal. It's the exact same wine. Okay? The first one with the green wrapper on it. This was moved into tank, that big tank right there, 550 gallons, in September, October, actually. October 31st, Halloween. Okay? That was put in October. The one that's the clear bottle is the exact same wine, but it's still in a barrel.
Which one did it taste first?
Green one. Taste them again. Because to me, it's like, okay, did it make a difference?
Subtly, yeah.
How many months is that? And it's neutral oak. It's not as though it's a new oak barrel.
Right, but still there's that oxidation and
Yeah.
etc. coming
Yeah.
through, as opposed to the,
Yeah, pour them again. Try 'em again.
sure.
I'm going to try to find the data, because I was looking up the data on this stuff.
Can I pour the rest of it?
Yeah, go ahead. Finish it off.
So the green one is in. Transferred to tank.
Right there. Tank back in, well, let's call it November 1st, basically. So, November, December, January, February. So this is 4 more months in oak here.
Yeah, I'll only take a little bit of this because I know where I'm at now. That's left in barrel. This one's left in barrel. Okay. So, the neutral oak. Oh, that's good.
So this is Dundee Hills Fruit, east facing. I leased this vineyard since 2008, and this is 2017, and I'm no longer leasing it. They sold the vineyard to Sokol Blaster, so a bigger producer.
What we do, it's kind of like medium size.
Yeah.
Yeah, up top, there's 2 barn doors up there. Those open up during harvest time, and that's where we do all fruit reception up top.
Okay.
So individually berry sort everything, and then down below during harvest, each one of these little 2 and 3 ton micro fermenters covers the entire floor and every single one of the vineyard parcels. So we talk about east and west, the volcanic soils and everything. There's 18 different soil types. Got a little bit of space heater action, obviously pushing things through malolactic still. Just have some of the Chardonnays in here usually. Yeah. So block 29, this is that vineyard parcel. It's at the very bottom of the west blocks. We have 2 Chardonnay parcels that are about an acre to acre and a half each in size. So yeah, doing some aging in barrel right now for the Chardonnays.
Very cool.
And then, yeah, just kind of keeping temperature so that malolactic fermentation can be completed. Yeah, you can walk on these guys here and you can kind of see. So this is a vineyard called Rain Dance. So it's like 2018 Rain Dance Chardonnay, Block 10. 95 is the Dijon clone of Chardonnay in there. Like Ravana Vineyard Pinot, Block 14, 114 clone. So each one of the blocks is kept separately all the way through 11 months of aging.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Vaidensville, Rain Dance Vaidensville. And then these are all empty if you see them turn upside down, obviously. Or else we're having problems.
Beautiful.
Right?
I love this stuff. You ever get tired of it?
Yeah, not really. It's like, I guess I'm lucky I can do a lot of random stuff at the company. So it's like
That's good.
national sales, traveling, working in Argentina, working here, working in Napa. So
Yeah, it's great.
it's a pretty great setup.